know why I'm nervous. I teach middle school. All right, second grade, I have the Crayola crayon box with 64 crayons and the sharpener in the back, the first year it came out. I walk into my classroom, and no lie, Barbie is standing there. She is tall, blonde, and beautiful. Men have bromances, I had a womance immediately. I loved her, I loved my class. She played the guitar. She taught us songs like, "What do you do with a drunken sailor?" That wouldn't happen today. And we played Upset the Fruit Bowl every Friday afternoon. And guess what? I even went to her wedding, and I watched Barbie marry Ken. And it was the best school year of my life. And I learned to read Sally, Dick, and Jane. But I hated Sally because she had blonde hair. So, they told us in third grade we were going to stay together as a class, and Barbie was going to stay as my teacher. Yes! So I walk in the first day of third grade, and by the way, as a teacher, going from one grade to another, she was a saint. But I walk into my classroom, and somebody new is sitting in there. She's got red hair and freckles, and she's pretty unkempt. And I immediately stereotyped her as Pippi Longstocking. And she was just like her. She broke the rules. She was disrespectful to my teacher, and she disrupted our learning every day, and I did not like her. So back then, we had to wear dresses every day to school. I always wore shorts underneath my dress. And although I've always had the nickname of Mighty Mouse, I spent a lot of time on the playground with the boys playing kickball and dodgeball. So one morning, we're playing dodgeball, and I'm the last person in the middle. I was the second fastest girl in my classroom, not the fastest, never got to that place. And I'm in there, and I'm dodging, and somebody throws the ball, and the person on the other side misses it, and Pippi Longstocking picks up the ball, and she starts running away laughing. And I'm like, that's it. She's done. And I haul off after her, and I have an older brother who's taught me well. I grab her, boom, throw her on the ground, start punching her. This is for my teacher. This is for the kids in the class. I don't like you, and I'm punching her. And the next thing I know, I feel this big hand on the back of my dress lifting me up, and it's Barbie. And I look up at her like, I'm your superhero. I just took care of her for you. You should be happy. And the kids are yelling, fight, 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 fight. And Barbie looks at me and she goes, get inside. And I'm like, I have never felt such shame and embarrassment in my life. So we walk inside and I sit down, and now you could hear a pin drop. And back then, they had a thing called corporal punishment. And Barbie grabs the yardstick, and she calls Pippi Longstocking and I out into the hallway, and she whacked us good. So I go home at the end of the day, and I had parents who said, if the teachers call school, we always believe them. So I walk in, and my mother doesn't say a word, and I'm thinking, I got away with it. But my father comes home. Usually my father would walk in with a briefcase, put it by the door, he'd go sit down in his recliner. But today, he put the briefcase down, and he went to the patriarchal throne at the head of the kitchen table. And he calls me into the kitchen. How was school today? Not good. I heard about what happened. And he asked me, he said, do you feel like you had enough punishment? I said, yes. He said, you know, the character of a person is really all about what they do after they make a mistake. Don't tell anybody in the election now that, by the way. He says, you know, the next 2 weeks, you're going to ask Pippi Longstocking to play with you every single day at recess. Do you understand me? You're going to include her in whatever you do. Yes, sir. You know, in 2 weeks, I'm going to ask you. Yes, sir. For 2 weeks, I asked Pippi Longstocking every morning, reluctantly at first, "Pippi, want to play with us?" She said no, every single time. About 3 weeks later, we go over to the ball field. My dad was a baseball coach of my brother's team, and Pippi Longstocking standing on top of a dirt mound playing. I said, "Dad, that's Pippi Longstocking." He said, "Good. Here's the first night you're ever going to get money for the snack bar. Go play with her and take her to the snack bar." "Yes, sir." I went on that dirt mound and I played with Pippi Longstocking the entire time that my father had a baseball game. Took her over to the snack bar, gave her money. We had a great time. Went back to school the next day, asked her to play at recess, and she still said no. My father asked me, he said, "Have you asked her to play? Have you included her every day?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Good, I hope you've learned. You get a lot farther in life with sugar than you do with salt. And the size of a person is measured by their character after they make a mistake and make up for it." And that was my third grade year. Thank you.